By the mid-1960s, the Beatles were no longer just a band riding the wave of success. They were trapped inside it. Fame had grown louder, schedules tighter, and expectations heavier. What once felt like freedom now felt like routine. And inside that machine stood George Harrison, the quiet one, observant and increasingly restless. While Lennon and McCartney dominated the spotlight, George was learning something uncomfortable. Not every Beatles song felt like art anymore. Some felt like obligation. And one song, more than any other, became a symbol of that frustration. Years later, George would admit, without bitterness but without apology, that he truly hated it. The song was, "I Want to Tell You." By 1966, George Harrison was no longer the teenage guitarist grateful just to be included. He was growing, spiritually, musically, emotionally. But within the Beatles, growth didn't always mean freedom. John and Paul still controlled most of the songwriting space. George was allowed a song or two per album, sometimes reluctantly. When he brought ideas to the group, they were often treated as secondary, unfinished, or expendable. "I had to fight to get my songs on," George later said. "Sometimes it felt like I was interrupting something." That tension lived quietly beneath the surface, and it would soon spill into the music itself. "I Want to Tell You" was written during the Revolver sessions, a period often remembered as creative bliss. But for George, it wasn't blissful at all. The song was born from a feeling of mental blockage, the inability to communicate what you truly feel. Its jagged piano, awkward chord changes, and uneasy melody reflected that confusion. Ironically, the song worked. It sounded anxious. It sounded unresolved. It sounded like a man stuck inside his own head. But George didn't hear honesty. He heard compromise. Later, he admitted that the song represented a phase he disliked, trying to express something meaningful before he knew how. George Harrison's dislike for the song wasn't about melody or lyrics alone. It was about who he was when he wrote it. As his spiritual awareness deepened in the late 1960s, George became more critical of his earlier work. He began to see some songs as ego-driven, confused, or emotionally immature. "I didn't like where I was coming from," he said of some Revolver-era material. "I was trying to say something, but I didn't understand it yet. I want to tell you." Reminded him of that inner noise, a mind searching for peace but not yet knowing where to look. In other words, he didn't hate the song. He hated the version of himself trapped inside it. What makes George's admission so striking is this. Many fans consider "I Want to Tell You" one of his most honest early songs. The discomfort is the point. The unresolved chords mirror emotional tension. The lyrics circle meaning without landing, just like real frustration. Lines like, "My head is filled with things to say," weren't poetic abstractions. They were confessions. The song captured something George couldn't articulate yet. The sense that his inner life was expanding faster than the band could accommodate. History would prove him right. Placed alongside Lennon's introspection and McCartney's melodic confidence, George's song felt smaller, not because it was weaker, but because it wasn't protected. John and Paul had the freedom to fail publicly. George didn't. Every song he released felt like a test, and when he later looked back, "I Want to Tell You" felt like an exam he hadn't finished studying for. That pressure, to be perfect or be silent, would haunt him until the very end of the Beatles. George Harrison's rejection of the song wasn't destructive, it was transformative. Instead of retreating, he went deeper, into Indian philosophy, meditation, and a different understanding of music. Songs stopped being puzzles to solve and became prayers, reflections, and acts of surrender. Within a few years, he would write Something, Here Comes the Sun, and an entire solo album that outshone his former bandmates. The man who hated "I Want to Tell You" was gone. In his place stood an artist who finally knew what he wanted to say. "I Want to Tell You" remains on Revolver, not as a mistake, but as a snapshot, a moment where George Harrison was uncomfortable, uncertain, and unfinished. And maybe that's why it matters. It shows the cost of growth. It shows the frustration behind the quiet smile. It shows that even inside the greatest band in history, someone could feel unheard. George Harrison didn't hate the song because it failed. He hated it because it told the truth too early. It captured a man who hadn't yet found his voice, only the pressure building behind it. And without that discomfort, the George Harrison we revere today might never have existed. Sometimes the songs artists dislike the most are the ones that reveal them most clearly. And I Want to Tell You is George Harrison, caught mid-awakening.